So there's an interesting way to increase your DPS as an enhancement shaman, and that's by having your weapons hit within zero point 0.5 seconds of each other. The reason why this increases your DPS is because there's just this really weird mechanic where if your main hand and offhand hit within 0.5 seconds, you only lose one stack of flurry rather than two. And that, of course, leads to better flurry uptime. Like you would imagine, if your main hand hits, your offhand hits, you'd lose two stacks. But it doesn't work that way. If they hit within 0.5 seconds, you only lose one stack of flurry. And if you have a situation where your main hand is leading, ideally, that just leads to bigger win furies. In a perfect world, you'd be having your main hand leading and your offhand hitting within 0.5 seconds to have bigger win furies and just better flurry uptime. So how you choose to do that is, or at least how I choose to do that, is by using same speed weapons and using a weak aura and macros to kind of create that cadence. It's kind of easy. You can do it reliably, and I'll kind of briefly go over that, how to do it. Before we start that, let me just describe this weak aura right here that I'm using. So, the black line right here, that's my main hand. The green bar is my offhand, and when we are swinging in that, ideal cadence with the main hand leading and the offhand hitting within 0.5 seconds, the bar is going to be green, and if it's not in a nice cadence, it's going to be red if they're not hitting within 0.5 seconds. And another situation is where the offhand is leading, and that is going to have the bar yellow. Let me see if I can create that sort of situation. No. Let me try again. Yikes. Nope. Okay, let's see. Nope. Okay. So just trust me, if the offhand is leading, it's going to be yellow. And if they're swinging at the same cadence, like if their main hand and offhand are hitting at the same time, it's going to be green as well, but that's not ideal because when they're hitting at the same time, it's kind of a coin flip if you have your main hand, registering as hitting first. So with that out of the way, how to make it so they're hitting within 0.5 seconds is by starting attack outside of weapon range. You can right click it, you can have, you can have a start attack macro, you start attack from outside of weapon range, and they're going to be hitting within 0.5 seconds. If you have your main hand leading, or the offhand leading, or if they're hitting at the same time, it's kind of a coin flip. But yeah, you just have to start attack from outside of swing range, and they're going to be hitting within 0.5 seconds. And so you see, they're kind of in that lockstep, which isn't perfect, but you still benefit from that, only losing one stack of flurry. Let's try it again. Outside of range, swing, lockstep. Lockstep. Yikes. I guess I'm just getting lockstep. But yeah. So you kind of can create that sort of swing cadence that you're looking for by using this macro that I'm using, which is /target player /target and then /startattack afterwards. The macro I'll put in the description because I realized that my screen my camera might be blocking it. But yeah, so what I do is I have it, look at that, my main hand's leading. I use this macro when I don't have the perfect cadence, and that's the cadence I was referring to before with the offhand leading. And I press this macro when my main hand, this black line, is in between these two bars. And it reliably will make it so my main hand is leading. And it's reliable, it's kind of awesome, and yeah. So just to summarize that again, if you want your weapons swinging within 0.5 seconds of each other, you start attack from outside of swing range, and you get it. And if you want to correct your swing cadence, once you have that sort of hitting within 0.5 seconds, you use the macro within these 2 yellow lines. And it will reliably make it so your main hand is leading. Another way to do that, let's just say it's like a scuff situation, and you don't start swinging from outside of swing range, like this. You can change it by casting a spell. If you full cast a spell, start attack, it resets the timer, and it will make it so your main hand and offhand are hitting at the same speed, and then you can correct it by pressing that macro at the correct time, and it will have your main hand leading first. That's not perfect though. You can make it so you can do that without casting a spell, and you do that by pressing the macro when your main hand is at the very start of your swing, or right after you swing, right in this sort of portion of it, and then pressing it again within the yellow lines. Let's see. Let's try it. Press, and look at that. It's swinging at within 0.5 seconds of each other, and then you can correct it by pressing it again, or not. And there you go. Or not. But yeah, so those are the sort of the techniques I use to kind of create the swing cadence that I'm looking for. I realized that was kind of a lot of information, but let me just summarize it. So when your main hand and offhand are leading, or when your main hand and offhand are hitting within 0.5 seconds, you create this sort of situation where you only lose 1 stack of flurry rather than 2, which increases flurry uptime, and ideally you have your main hand leading. How you create that is by using same speed weapons, or at least how I do it is by using same speed weapons, starting attack from outside of swing range, and pressing that macro, that fancy dancy macro, in between these 2 yellow lines, and have your main hand leading. If you don't have that sort of situation, you're twisting totems, the melee, the warrior in your group is spazzing out because you're not twisting, and you start attack and it's all scuffed, you can correct it by, either using a rank 1 spell, full casting it, reset the timer, now you're owning, or you can you're twisting yeah. You can what's it called, you can fully optimize your DPS by continuing to swing by pressing the macro at the start and in between these lines. And look at that, you're an owner. Now you're owning. But yeah, I hope this helped, and I hope you start parsing hundreds. Good luck. Peace.